now needs to now concentrate on, I need to be able to finish if Robert does miss. So possibly his own 2 balls up in corner 2 with a rush down, because it's still only 13 yards, which is longer than what he's offering yellow on red, and move yellow into the middle of the court somewhere. And saying, okay, Robert, you lift yellow, shoot at red, and if you miss that, I'm capable of finishing. And it just adds that little bit of pressure to Robert when he swings. That Robert missed one similar right at the start of his break. So it's...
So he's going to leave black here, come back to black after he's hit yellow. He won't be able to hit again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah,
and have one shot at positioning for the rush, to give black the rush down to 1.
He's determined to get that yellow at the 2 by the look of that. And it's not that important, because we know Robert's most likely lifting this yellow ball. But it's good stuff. Good stuff to watch and commentate on. You know, you got to think of plan B, then plan C when things don't quite go as planned.
Not always doing the expected, which is quite neat.
No. He may be thinking defensive here, is he? Is he looking at possibly putting yellow towards corner 2 and putting blue over to the east boundary and saying, okay, Robert, you can have the shot, but if you hit, it's not an easy break on offer. I think to beat Robert, you've got to give yourself a chance to make a break straight away if you are back on the court. I don't think you want to get into a tactical defensive battle with Robert.
He's obviously giving it a lot of thought. This, therefore, probably not quite what he intended to be.
He is separating, so he's going down towards the 4th corner. So a few options for Robert. Nothing's too long, but they all come with a different reward and risk. Obviously, any miss lets Lachlan back on the court, but it will be most likely with blue that he'll be playing again. And if Robert does connect, the break's not that easy, but he's electing to shoot straight at the blue with the red ball.
Oh.
A little bit of pressure for Robert. He did miss one a little bit longer than this right at the start, so he'll be focusing hard on this one. Looks like a good strike.
Yeah, they both moved. So, yes, that was a hit. We didn't quite see the hit, the moment of hit, but we can definitely see the outcome. So that was not a miss. And Robert has chosen to play with red, which is still on hoop 1. So now he is, I suppose, thinking how will he go from here to set up the court so that he can make his 9 with his red ball. Perhaps we can pull back a little and see where all the other balls are.
Yeah, he has a few options. He can elect to try to get Lachlan off the court. He showed yesterday that he was playing some one-back turns to have a lead, then backed it up with getting the opponent off the court. Or, as you say, Kate, just making a 9 and concentrating on the leaves.
So we can see that black is... There's yellow in the middle. So he's gone to partner.
It's not quite on the money for Robert. It means he's got to do a bit of work. Because they are playing on the toughest court at Canley, and there is some wind there as well, I've just spotted for the first time, likely Robert will be doing what you said, Kate, and just making 9 because he's saying to him, okay, Lachlan, if you do get back in, it's a tough lawn to triple on. Lachlan's stats are okay for tripling, but it would be a fair effort for Lachlan to triple on this lawn. And Robert will say, okay, I'll keep all the balls on the court and play to my strength for being able to peel out rather than give you any chance of a 2v1. But Robert is the master of choosing the right tactic, so I could be well wrong, but we'll see what unfolds.
Always very instructive to watch him.
Yes, it's a very good position we are here in Australia, and especially Victoria, to have Robert very active in the croquet scene of late, and plays all levels of events he can.
He has just moved to Queensland.
Yes, we did see that he had joined a club up there. Yeah.
Caloundra. He's joined Caloundra.
Okay.
He's hoping to stay there for some time. He's gone up there with his business. They have work up there. So Caloundra, when he came, I think, was it 3rd in the world golf croquet worlds? Put an entry on Facebook saying, our member, Robert Fletcher, has come third.
Fantastic.
So here in Victoria, we were thinking, what's this about Caloundra? He belongs to us. But he belongs to the world. He's a world-class player. He's such a good player. And in both codes, he just comes 3rd in the golf croquet, which is the other form of the game. He's come 3rd in the World Championships. I would not be surprised if he were world champion in not very long. But has that gone far enough? No. Whoops.
No, just a little bit off. Yeah, I had the pleasure of playing with Robert and watching Robert a lot in 2020 before COVID and 2019 in golf croquet. And there was without doubt that Robert was the best golf croquet player in the world. And I mean, life changes and circumstance changes since 2020. And Robert was right up there in that World Championship and had every chance to win it. But there's also some very good players in there. So I agree with you, Kate. I think it won't be long before we see Robert Fletcher as golf croquet world champion to go for his association titles.
So now I think we're saying goodbye to you, Pete.
I am off, so thank you for that. No, I'm off, Kate. You have wonderful Edward Wilson joining us, so thank you very much. And I think I'm back sometime today, so I'll talk to you all soon. So thank you.
We're having a Landry back at 12 noon. whether it's Rosemary or yourself. We look forward to talking to one of you again. But in the meantime, welcome to Edward Wilson. Edward, you said you would be very interested in seeing the sharp end of the game, and this is indeed the sharp end of the game. This is the second semi-final, the first semi-final having been won by Trevor Bassett playing his wife Claire Bassett. And we were lucky enough to see the peg out on that game, and we saw quite a bit of it.
Right, sounds
so
like an exciting day of
on
play.
where we're up to. Yes,
well,
and
can you talk me through the state of play currently?
Lachlan, well, Robert got in but broke down. Lachlan got in as a result of that and went round, made a very tidy 9, left a leave which Robert hit. Robert attempted a long split roll pass roll to get his ball down in front of hoop 1, but unfortunately didn't carry, so he's left his red ball in the corner. And Lachlan,
Right, so it looks
who's
like
already he's run away.
Yeah, done a little bit of a tice for Lachlan, so high risk, high reward shot for Lachlan here. If he misses this, Robert pretty well has the lawn. You'd be banking on Robert being able to approach hoop 1 from there, but Lachlan likewise. You're playing against Rob Fletcher, the best player in the world. So when he does give you an option, it's not an easy shot, and Robert obviously wants him to do that, but it's an interesting one because if Lachlan hits, Lachlan does get quite a lot of benefit out of it, and he knows that he kind of has to hit that. So otherwise, Robert will probably finish somewhere. So it's an interesting one from Robert. It's extremely aggressive, which you don't always see from Rob. So Rob he's got a couple of options here, whether he approaches hoop 1 from here or goes down. It looks like he's going down and using the other 2 balls. And he's got a really tidy rush on blue to yellow. Obviously red still for hoop 1. So it's quite a good croquet stroke from Rob. And a really, really good rush. So Robert obviously having not a great deal of lawn time this morning. Well, in this game anyway. So just opting to not go for the quite large croquet stroke to get in front of hoop 1, opting rather to take a few shots before getting all the way to hoop 1. It's actually an interesting choice. As yellow looks like it might have a little bit of furniture in the way between it and hoop 1. So he's got to rush past hoop 6 to actually get to hoop 1. So we'll see how he goes with that. And he's overrun that a little bit. We can see in a sec. Yeah, so he's actually going to have to cut this quite a lot in just a moment. So you saw there that he's actually cut that a massive amount and hit a really, really good rush. There is a lot of swing on this court, so without that, that ball probably would have been, 3 yards dead straight in front of hoop 1. It swung across and dipped down a little bit, so a bit of challenge for this one. But as far as the state of play goes, Robert will be quite happy with that. To have a position where you've got all the balls laid out and the only really difficult shot is getting in front of hoop 1, and then you can leave yourself in a bit of strife if it's not great. But pretty good position to be in, and that's short. And you don't often see Robert express disappointment quite that obviously on the court. So he's clearly not too happy with that one. But we'll, as I said, you know, that was the only really difficult shot that he had to get past, and now he's left himself with another difficult one. Kate, how has Lachlan been playing? Obviously, he got through his 9 okay and set a lead. He's looked all right this morning.
Looks very confident.
Good.
Yes. He was beaten by Trevor in the final round of the round robin. So that's how come he's playing. He's the second in the block, but he's won all his other games. He's looked very comfortable, and he played very nicely this morning, not seeming to be deterred by the magnitude of the task. But he did hesitate a lot on the leave. It looked as if he didn't get the balls quite where he wanted them, and he had to rethink a couple of he put red too close to he put red on the wrong side of the hoop where he wanted it. He just didn't get his leave. It would be nice to ask him about that. I think he really struggled to decide what was going to be the best thing to do.
Okay.
But otherwise, he played beautifully. So now Robert has run hoop 1 with red.
Yeah, so as I said, you know, the difficult part for Robert there was actually just getting through hoop 1. Now it does seem to be, you know, mostly a laid break for him. So he's got quite a good load at 2. Well, you know, an all right load at 2 and a good load at 3. So
now we
control of all the
have
balls
got
now.
Claire. Yes, beautiful. We have got Claire Bassett in the wings. She's just finished her semi-final. She was doing beautifully against Trevor, her husband Trevor, and then unfortunately fell out. Just didn't quite make it, and he pegged her out. He tried to pick her out. I think he didn't pick her out. She got back in. It was seesaw for a moment, and then Trevor went round beautifully and got both balls to the peg. So they both had their balls on the peg, and another ball ready to finish, but Trevor finished first. So I'll ask them to send Claire up, and she can join you for a while here.
Fantastic. Sounds like an interesting match between the two Bassets.
Yeah, it was. Yes, and I believe they haven't played they were saying they hadn't played since before this complex at Canley was built. It goes back to Worley and Brighton when they last played each other, and they have a court at home. Apparently they don't play each other on that court either. They just practice. But you can ask her about that. So I've asked for her to come up.
Righto. So while we're waiting for Claire, we can see Robert going round. As far as Robert's concerned, he's been attempting a few sextuples in this event so far. This can be a challenging lawn to sextuple on because it does have a few ebbs and flows around the lawn. You know, you're not always certain that it's going to do what you want it to do. Oh, and that's taken some hill there. So Robert with a tough little hoop 3 should be able to navigate it. But, you know, as I said, to sextuple, you really need to have good control of the balls across the lawn and be able to play long shots across the lawn with control. And so when you've got a lawn that does have some swings and hills, as this one does, you know, your confidence in playing those shots does go down a little bit. So as far as the leave goes, we yeah, we'll be seeing what he's thinking very soon. Anyway, does sound like we've got Claire Bassett, so I'll pass you on to Kate and Claire.
No, I think I'm passing the baton to Claire, and she will be in conversation with you, Ed. So she just take her seat and introduce. Welcome, Claire, and I will leave you, Ed, to talk with Claire.
Very good.
There's a bit of lag on both.
Good morning, Edward.
Good morning, Claire. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Coming off a loss, but life will go on. To the husband, which kind of
Yeah.
makes it worse. I don't know if it's worse or better. No, it's worse. Worse, definitely worse.
Definitely worse. Yeah, it sounded like a bit of a tussle. Are you in an okay state to talk us through what happened?
Oh yeah, gee, I'm not gonna, it's not that big a deal. No. I fourth turn 9, and then 2-4 leave. Trev missed, and I beveled. Where did I bevel that? Oh, after 5. Missed a short roquet after 5. And then he went round, all 3 peels out, and misses after rover. And I got started again and clear missed. I think I said this to Robert afterwards. I said, I think it's been about 10 years since I clean missed a hoop. So that was done at 2 back, and that just gave him the world. Game over.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So chances on both ends. Yeah,
Definitely.
good chance to finish from you. So unlucky to hear there, and yeah, one to think about later for the family. The car ride home will be
Probably
a
not.
little bit more interesting.
We bought 2 cars down, so it's probably best.
Oh, okay. Yeah, ready
Looks
for
like
this
we've got
situation to occur.
Yeah, looks like we've got a tea lady coming.
Yeah, so interesting of Robert, with yellow being on 2, to be taking this option, and also interesting that he's taking the croquet stroke from down the lawn. You don't often see players do that. I haven't seen how Robert's been setting his leaves for sextuples so far this event, but yeah, obviously, being on 2, I've seen one of his leaves did include, wow, you can see the swing on yellow there, did include having balls wide around hoop 4. So with yellow being on 2, if he does decide to wire around 1, could be an interesting start to his actual sextuple, and does give Lachlan more if he does hit, which he's been hitting extremely well.
Yeah, he
The
has,
alternative here is Robert could be just setting up to do a pop. Obviously, really quite aggressive, but he might be looking at this going. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. How have you seen the state of play today? Has Robert and you said Lachlan's been hitting really well. Have they both been playing some good croquet today?
Yeah, Robert's been not without errors this weekend, but still solid. He's clearly sextuples are on the practicing regime for this tournament for him in lead up to the MAC, so that's good to see. He set a nice tea lady against me yesterday, and then unfortunately just didn't missed a straight rover peel with me yesterday, so I do enjoy watching Robert go around and doing his sextuple work. Just something different for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see high level croquet at any stage. And Robert in full flight is really good to see. But this one's an interesting one for him. He's left black with
Yeah.
sort of a 2.5 yard, 15-degree hoop if it wants it. So whether he'll actually continue and set up his sextuple and give Lachlan the opportunity to take that on, or does it look like here he's not even looking at the wire? No, that's.
Yeah, I'm not
a
sure,
little-
but it would be a
So he
nice
hasn't looked too hard.
juicy
at the
little
wire.
carrot for Lockie if he wants to take that hoop on and then give Robert everything.
Yeah, but
Looks not quite wired.
it looks like he didn't even look at the wire when he tapped onto blue,
No.
so he might just be playing to finish the turn as a 9.
Yeah.
Which, as
Probably
far as
wise
where that's
because
gone.
Lockie has been playing very solidly this tournament. Once he's in, he's in. Clearly, he had a bit of a brain fart on that last leave, which I thought was a bit strange, but sometimes the pressure of playing Robert gets to people.
Right. So I missed what happened with that leave, Claire. Kate said that he had a ball in front of a hoop.
Yeah, he was set up for a standard 2-4, but unfortunately, his opposition ball, his oppo was at 2 backs. We rushed it over into position and just over rushed it a bit. And then he tried to put it into position there, tied it hoop 4 after he'd made 3 back from about 2 yards, which was, I thought we'd have an OSL for sure, but no, he still persevered with the 2-4 and just sat it on 3 back side of the hoop. So of course, then he sort of went into a bit of a tailspin, and I'm not sure whether he just didn't quite think through a few shots and then ended up with balls everywhere and ultimately giving Robert a couple of short shots.
Right. That is an interesting one. On the 3 back side. So he looked like he intentionally put it there while he was in his shot.
Yeah.
He didn't just have a miss hit or something. Yeah.
No.
Okay. As you say, we do have brain farts.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're
I've
under
had a
pressure
couple.
of playing good players like Robert.
Definitely, if you think you're not going to get another turn, particularly with that sextuple practicing that Robert's been doing, your next shot could quite possibly be a tea lady, and that's intimidating.
Yeah. Yep. So it is intimidating. However, Robert hasn't yet completed a sextuple this event, so you're still odds on that he's not going to finish. As far as Lachlan goes now, this really is a one-shot scenario because Robert, as far as tripling from hoop 2 goes, should be pretty straightforward. So we'll see what
Correct.
Levy does here. I'd assume that Robert will be leaving it so if Black does pick up, which you have to think that Lachlan will be doing, he'll be giving himself every chance to hit it and finish it. It both gives Robert a little bit more and makes the turn more difficult for Lachlan if he does hit. So Robert's got a few options with leaves. May have had a crack at a little ambitious pop there.
Why not?
And obviously
What's your
pressure
pick
for
for
Robert,
leaves on this one?
That's actually a good question. probably as far as it goes, you know, you don't have anything. Wow, he's left himself quite short on that
Yeah,
one as
this
well.
is mm,
Look, it looks like
not unmakeable.
Robert. Oh,
Good job.
as far as putting black on that side of the hoop, I think we get an indication that Robert might have wanted to put that on the. What is he doing here? Sanding this ball down towards 2. Robert might have wanted to put that ball on the west boundary going across to these other 2, and that looks like where he's still aiming to put it. So, so he might still be trying to set up a 2-4 type leave here,
Yeah.
which that is in position for, which is probably, you know, a good leave. Black will be wanting to shoot, as I mentioned. So if it does shoot, Robert will have all 4 balls sort of within the quadrant around 3 back, and you know, give him every chance of having an easier triple without needing to go to hoop 1. You know, it's just one quite large rush across the lawn to get down to hoop 2, but everything is in forward play straight away. You know, you don't need to be rolling anything into the lawn too heavily.
Correct. Yep.
Righto. Yeah, as it looks like he would be doing that. What other options for leaves would there be here, Claire?
Well, with the balls the way they are now, not many.
Yeah.
You could have,
OSL.
look, you could have done it, and yeah, that's yeah, probably. Look, there would have been nothing wrong with a standard diagonal if you didn't have the skills to quite get that ball tucked in behind. 3 back there with this sort of shot, but I'd prefer a 2-4.
Yep. The other one that you could look at would be a tight crosswire around the peg without blue or black being able to rush to hoop 1. So, and red and yellow, you know, quite a long way down the boundary, sort of in the line between, you know, hoop 4 and hoop 1. So that limits Lachlan's options if he does actually hit in. So, you know, having blue on the northern side of the peg, unable to rush to hoop 1, and then red and yellow sort of on the boundary about where at the same angle as yellow is now. You know, it does give Lachlan a couple of slightly shorter shots, but more difficult if he does hit in to get a break going. And obviously Robert not needing to rush to hoop 1. So a bit of interest now on whether Robert can... Sorry,
that crosswire though, the only thing that I probably wouldn't have preferred on that crosswire is that Lockie gets to pick which ball he'd like to play. There's no consequence for picking up your backward ball. I'd rather push them into a position where they're picking or have to pick up something or feel like they need to pick up something they don't really want to play.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, Robert should be able to have the pick of it wherever they go. He's just fallen short on that one as well. So from that, it's indicating that he's still looking at the NSL with the ball quite close to hoop 4. My golly.
This will be interesting.
What a tricky shot. Yeah, we could end up with the exact same leave as Lachlan had. It looks like he's lining up to put it pretty much in the jaws.
In the jaws. Yeah. That's the plan, I think.
Yeah, we could end up with it directly on the other side. Oh, great shot from Robert there. Yeah, that is really nice. Does it rush down to hoop 2 though?
I can't see from where I am. He's certainly looking at it.
And so will you be playing off the third against whoever doesn't win this game, Claire? Or are you
Yeah, I'm
done
certainly
for the
willing
tournament?
and able. No, I've got nothing
Very
else to
good.
do today.
Do you have any other tournaments coming up on the agenda?
I'm in the 8s, so that'll be interesting. It's
Yep.
been a while since I've put balls on the court and played tournaments. It's good to be back. I did play in Adelaide with you,
Yep.
what, about a month ago?
Yeah,
It was
about a month ago. Yep.
Yeah, and that's been the first one since COVID started. So it's good to be back.
Gee.
Oh,
Okay.
good job, Robert. See what
Yeah,
Lachlan
got
does.
his 9 done. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it looks like Lachlan might
I
have
wonder.
a nice looking double from A bulk with black, so that's probably the shot to take.
Yeah, I like that. He's certainly
Yeah,
looking
that
at
does
it.
look great, doesn't it?
It does fall off significantly on that boundary. But in any case, I would be taking the shortest shot possible and hitting hard.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, well, that's certainly a way to, stop the hills and, or, counteract the hills is pace. And Lachlan's got plenty of easy power. Certainly has a really fluent swing, and can hit a ball quite well.
So what about you,
How have
Edward?
you
What
found?
tournaments have you got coming up?
Oh, well, pretty much just match preparation at the moment. So I'll be playing in the 8s as well. I'll see you there, and I'll be playing in the
Nice.
Australian Open doubles, and we'll see what other events I can get to. But yeah, preparing for the McRobertson Shield, just trying to get time on the lawn, and time against good opponents. It's not long till the match,
Yeah, that's
so
good.
that's
No,
what we're.
and you
Yeah.
as a debutant, how do you feel about that? You ready to go?
Pretty excited. Yeah, well, I mean, we've got a good crew, good team. Just see Lachlan have a crack at this one. Oh, and he's mishit that.
No. Yeah.
Well, nearly took out the cameraman. So
I'm sorry.
looked like it was off from the get-go. His body language showed that he wasn't pleased with it, and the ball looked to be bouncing as it was going, so off the side of the mallet.
Yeah.
And that should be pretty straightforward. Start for Robert. Yeah, look at that. He did miss-hit
Yeah,
that
look
entirely,
that.
where that's ended up.
Yeah.
So Robert now has
Yes, you can
the
certainly
option.
see some people's. Sorry, Edward. I was just saying you could certainly
you're
see some people's body language. You can, off the mallet, you can tell that they've missed it. Some people are quite easy to read.
Yeah, for sure. And when you do miss-hit it that badly, you know instantly. It's not like there's any waiting around to see where it ends up.
Down into the
So
corner for
Robert,
Robert.
yeah, we'll be seeing if blue does rush to hoop 2 here. So if it doesn't, he'll probably go to blue first and rush it back out to the east boundary, putting it
Correct.
up to 3. So we might see, a little ball movement of all 4 balls at hoop 3. Or if it does rush to 2, Robert will be going to red here, putting red back to 3 and rushing blue directly to hoop 2. Does look like he's looking at blue now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the line where he has to hit it straight to red. The only tricky thing is here not leaving yourself wide, so getting around it.
And there's a fair bit of hill
how
to
have you
play
found-
around that hoop 4.
Oh, absolutely. How have you found the lawns playing this weekend, and especially today? You know, different from yesterday, a bit more dried out without any rain.
Funny you say that. Look, there's not a breath of wind today, so that certainly helps when you're playing in Canley. Anyone with experience at Canley knows that this time of year is fraught with high winds. So having no wind is great. Yesterday afternoon, after I played Robert, he made a comment about the types of balls we were playing with, and I said, "Oh, but they're not Humpties." He said, "No, they're Dawsons." So I went, "Oh, that's why all my loads went long and my rushes were so piggy and I couldn't control a ball yesterday." So with that knowledge, I've learned a great lesson in learning the conditions of play at the beginning of a tournament, and won't make that mistake again. And it's great today.
Yeah. Yep. So, you know, that comment that Robert made with the balls, does that just mean they're more smoothed out, you know, and not fresh new Dawsons as we've seen, you know, in tournament play recently?
People would argue that the old Dawsons play quite different to the Humpties. So when I'm not sure his name took over the company, he creates them now up in Humpty Doo. That's why we affectionately call them Humpties. They don't rushes. They're a bit, I would say they're dead to rush. They don't pull as much. There's a few little nuances in the balls that are different to what we're used to. So yeah, swapping from ball to ball can be difficult, particularly if you don't know what you're playing with, which was completely my error. But yeah, I would say there are enough differences to just put you out a little bit on your break play.
Yeah, it is interesting because, you know, we have been using the old style of Dawsons for so long, and you get used to how they're playing. When you're playing at, you know, a higher level of croquet, those small variations matter. Not, you know, Paul Manwaring is doing an absolutely fantastic job keeping the Dawson legacy alive, and still producing
Correct.
croquet balls for us all. But you know, those differences do matter, and it's a challenge that we as croquet players need to overcome, because, you know, they're the balls we've got, and we've, you know, got to learn to play with them. And yeah, you're right, there are
Well, that's right.
nuances, but it's, you know,
It's
been
no different.
interesting.
It's no different to, you know, moving from club to club. There are nuances in courts as well. It's just the same, but you just need to be aware of it. It's like reading the court. When you have your 5-minute warm-up, it's that time to assess the court, make sure that you know where the boundaries run off, or a hoop might be on a hill, or any of those sorts of things. Knowing what balls you're playing with is just as important.
Yeah, exactly. So Robert here, he's done quite well to get blue out of that tricky situation. He's had a good rush. Now, as you're saying, all of these hoops have their own nuances and challenges on this lawn especially. So Robert, you know, tough shot to get red in a nice peeling position under rush. It's not that long, but as you can see, he hasn't quite got there. So a little bit of curve. So for people unfamiliar with Canley, a lot of the hills here are quite well known, and there is a little bit of a ridge across between hoop 3 and 4. So here at hoop 3, either side of the hoop will swing away. So if you're sort of going down the line of hoop 4, it can either swing across to the boundary or across to hoop 5. So Robert just tackling with that one now. So this may end up being a delayed, unless he can work red into the jaws here.
It's quite possibly on the
Get there.
cards. The angle isn't horrific. What I do like about this court, now court 2 is arguably the worst court at Canley, but it's very easy to read. It's very obvious. It's not like you get onto some courts and you're like, oh, how did that happen? The hills are very obvious, and it's just about taking that into consideration when you're looking at your croquet strokes and allowing for those hills in your play.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, I might have been calling it court 4, but this is, sorry, court 2, isn't it, Claire?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, mate.
Yep. Yeah, no, very good. Yeah, no, this is the one that we all talk about, which can make croquet interesting sometimes, especially in big matches, big finals, when the court isn't something that you want influencing play, but it certainly does. And that is the nature of croquet sometimes. We are lucky to have such a great facility of Canley with so many courts available, that it's hard to keep them all perfect all the time. And there are certain things about Canley that make it challenging to have flat courts, all the time. So we do have a couple of challenges, but as you're saying, you can read these pretty well. They're always there. They're always consistent. And hopefully over the next few years, if the sport of croquet continues to develop and grow, we can work our way around it and end up with some flat courts.
Yeah. The surfaces are a little bit interesting at this time of year too, because we're coming out of our winter in Australia, and the different types of grasses. There's a winter grass in there, so there's little tufts of grass that can affect those really softer shots and those ones that you really want on that blade of grass. So once we get through spring and all those grasses are growing well again, the surface will certainly smooth out a bit, and yeah, we'll see a bit better croquet.
Yeah, for sure. So Robert here going around quite well. Good angle of the lawns that we've got on screen at the moment. You can see slight variations in the green, with a little bit of patchiness. You've got a sort of dull brown green, most of it, and then little marks of bright sort of yellow lime green. So it is clear that there are some challenging little sections, but overall the venue looks all right. I'll be pretty keen to get onto these lawns before the Mac. I haven't played on them since the Worlds, so it'll be good to see hopefully some more growth and colour coming through over spring.
Looks like we're on for a rush
into
peel
November.
here.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Nice
Great
work.
shot. Yeah, high risk there. If that ball goes into the hoop and sticks, you're in a world of trouble. So needed to hit that hard, and yeah, managed to get it through. And a big roll coming up.
Yeah. Why not, I say?
Yeah, well, this one's quite a straightforward roll, and Robert's a very good roller of the croquet balls. You know, he's got a lot of power behind him, and a really strong person. So with this amount of split, you can get this roll quite well. And as you saw there, you're up in a pretty good chance of hitting the hoop. But that has gone a little bit wayward. It's still in the lawn and in his line of play. But he's got the important job of getting close to black. You know, that's the real risk scenario there is if you don't get quite close to your load at 5. So pretty easy for him to mop this back up. You know, getting black over to 1 back and getting a rush on red towards 3. And what other games have we got going on the courts around the venue at the moment, Claire?
We still have Trish playing, actually not in a great position to see. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah,
if
you've
you can't see.
made me get up out of my seat. No, sorry,
Oh.
I can see Trish on the court up there on court 4, but I can't really. I don't even know who she's playing, to be honest. I wonder if they wouldn't be plate games. They were going to do a modified Swiss. I'm not sure if that's a Swiss game or not.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, here we go. Yep, we do have a Swiss going. We have Lois and Josh and Lewis and Trish playing off.
Very good. So is that just a Swiss that the players have come up with?
Yeah.
Trying to get a few more games in.
Just
fantastic.
It's all about games. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to come to a tournament and then it being a knockout and you've got nothing to do on the last day, but watch Robert. Sorry, Robert.
Played an all right
slightly.
roll there. Yeah, overhit it.
Only slightly.
So have to have another roll here in a moment, depending on how good of a rush he gets. It's a good shot. What's the vibe been like around Canley, Claire? Has there been many spectators out, or obviously not a huge event? Has there been a few people around enjoying croquet out?
We have the normal wives and husbands of of players come through. Ken Ball dropped in today, so that was nice to see him. And I believe Brian is coming in today as well. No, he is not. I've just been corrected.
Right. Okay.
Unfortunately,
So
Brian's
Brian
ill. So Brian, get better soon, and we'll keep playing for you.
So can you talk us through what this event is about and why we do have it as the Brian Reither Cup?
Well, that's an excellent question, Edward. I actually don't know. Clearly, Brian Reither is a gentleman from VCA, Victoria, who has had a huge amount to do in croquet, forever, as long as I can remember. So, hey, why not name a tournament after someone? I think that's fantastic. I think it's a great initiative, and it just gets another competition on the calendar, and it just gives it that extra little bit to play for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Brian, everyone who has played a few tournaments at Canley will be aware of who Brian is. He does a lot for the sport, and you know, as you can say, I know that you know he's been involved in this as a venue and managing tournaments since I can you know remember and have been playing here. But if it's the same for you, then you know it's
Be careful. Be
a
careful.
fair amount of involvement. Oh, you know, well,
Mhm.
Canley's only
So
been
how long
around
have you been
for
playing? How long have you been kicking balls around, Edward?
almost 11 years now. So
Oh, you're
yeah,
a
started
baby.
when I was just in my early teens. Yeah, for sure. Watch out.
Got a long way to go.
No, so yeah, first came to Canley in 2014, 15, I think. No, in 15 for the Vic Open over yeah 15, 16, and was extremely excited. It was you know the first time I'd gotten to watch Robert play since the 2012 Worlds, and you know
Mhm.
meet all of these fantastic players and see Canley for the first time was really excellent, and it's still going strong today. So that's you know only a few years ago in the scheme of how long it's been around and what it's been doing. But yeah, it's a great club. And how long have you been playing croquet, Claire?
Oh, stop it, Edward. Okay, so that's too nice. It's closing in on 30 years. I turned 40 next year, so and I was a croquet baby. So I don't know my life without croquet. So yeah, it's been a while. I actually remember Canley not even existing. We used to play at Worley Grove back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah, wow, hey, okay.
Don't sound so stunned,
So,
Edward.
well, yeah, that's really fantastic. Yeah, so it's a lot of croquet, Claire, and
It's a lot of
you know,
croquet.
croquet
Yeah.
family. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we've got two girls. Hopefully they will not play croquet. That's my goal for them.
Well, they've been around the croquet community, you know, a fair amount. So we'll see what
Certainly.
they end up doing. That whether they get sick of it
Yes.
by the time that they're, you know, in the next
Oh
few
no,
years. Or
they love the croquet family and all of that.
have they been getting out for a hit at all? They are at the age where they can, you know, start hitting balls around and playing in tournaments.
Look, they try to, but they're committed with other things. They don't really do croquet like we do. That's okay.
Yep.
Now Robert just needs to nail this rush down to Rover.
Yeah, he's left himself a
Oh,
little
actually,
bit
no, he
lost on
doesn't. I
that
just
one
saw
as
that
well.
blue there. He probably just wants to tap it and do a specky peel going to blue. Blue's not as deep as you'd like.
No. So going against the hill slightly here, you know, going uphill to Rover. So under hit the shot, putting black to 3 back, going to red, and under hit the shot, getting the load down with blue to 2 back. So a little bit of work to do to mop this one up. Do we know
Plenty of
what lawn the
opportunities to
final will
peel
be
though
played?
still. So
Yeah, yep. Yeah, he's got plenty of time. It's about, you know, keeping the break going at this point with a couple of loose loads.
Sorry, what was that question before, Ed?
Oh, do you know which lawn the final will be played on?
The final's going to be played on court 1, which is
Yep.
the other court in front of the clubhouse.